What's up, everybody? It's your boy Brandon Scott again. Today, we're going to look at the candidates for who was the best defender this season for the Washington Wizards. And we're going to answer this question: can Johnny Davis figure it out in the nation's cap? And we're going to look at a Kyle Kuzma trade that was put forward by a viewer on Twitter. Next on Locked On Wizards.
You are Locked On Wizards, your daily Washington Wizards podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
What's up, everybody? It's your boy Brandon Scott again. I appreciate you guys making Locked On Wizards your first listen every single day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day. And tonight's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets guaranteed. That's $150 win or lose. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to get started. So again, we're going to briefly look at the candidates for who was the best defender this season: Bilal Coulibaly, Deni Avdija, or Landry Shamet, or maybe it's others. So you guys are the votees. So I'm going to put my best case for each candidate. And again, Friday night, you guys are going to do the vote, the votes for the award show on Friday. But again, appreciate you guys, man. And we're also going to talk about, can Johnny Davis figure it out here in DC? And if so, what does he need to succeed? And we're going to look at a Kyle Kuzma mock trade. There's a few put on Twitter and a few floating around. And so we're going to kind of react to that and see if it's a good one or a bad one. So let's get into who was the best defender this season for the Washington Wizards. And we're going to start with my guy, your guy, everybody's guy, Bilal Coulibaly, a.k.a. Be Cool. So looking at his intangibles, he is 6'8", y'all, 195 pounds. So could he add some weight this offseason? I think that he could stand to add 5 to 10 pounds, in my opinion, for him to kind of give himself a leg up. But how much of a leg up do you need? How much of the leg up does he need? Because defensively, now we can talk briefly about his offensive game, even though we're talking about the best defender. Obviously, the offense is still, he's still working on that. But defensively, very, very polished. If you look at his defensive numbers, and like I said, I said briefly because defensive metrics are kind of not as much as offensive, right? So looking at Bilal Coulibaly, looking at his defensive metrics, he did average around 0.8 blocks a game, 0.9 steals, around 2.2 personal fouls, and those three statistics really ring true to me for several reasons. Number one, blocks. He looked good, especially with rundown blocks this season. With his length, with his speed, with his athleticism, he was able to get a couple of really nice rundown blocks, and his ability to, especially with his wingspan, 7'3" wingspan. I mean, this guy, his ability to close out, put a hand in the shooter's face. I mean, he's just crazy. I mean, crazy athletic, and the potential is just oozing out of this kid. I mean, like I said, as we stand right now, he is 6'8", very well could be 6'9". Next year. I mean, this guy's still growing at, I believe he's 19. So he's still growing. Yeah, 19 years old. So he is very, very young, still growing. And defensively has shown athleticism, prowess, instincts, definitely basketball IQ. He's going to be a high level defender. Now, this year he showed that he is already an above average, really good defender. Now, do I think he can be better? Absolutely. I think he can definitely take that next step. And I think 2 to 3 years from now, he could be an all defensive team guy in the NBA, in my opinion, because he's got the instincts, he's got the athleticism, he's got the dog factor. He is a dog. Defensively, he is a dog. So I mean, with his steals, he is pesky, man. I mean, he's caught a lot of people sleeping as far as getting those steals, man. So I mean, like I said, defense, there's not so much to go on like it is offense, because we can go through numbers, you can go through different scenarios as far as defense, and defense is more of a team aspect of basketball, right? But looking at the individual level, obviously you're looking at steals, blocks, personal fouls matter. Are you available to be a defender? Excuse me, y'all. It is dry and hot as Hades out here in Virginia, man. So definitely bear with me. Appreciate you guys. So like I said, I definitely think you should strongly consider him the best defender this year for the Washington Wizards, because, man, his instincts are through the roof. His prowess, his dog factor, his basketball IQ. He's already above average, really good defender. And I think this year he can definitely take a step forward and really go into elite status. I think that he can definitely be an elite defender in his league. And when you pair that with other players in his roster, such as Deni Avdija, and I swear, we're going to talk about Deni in a minute, but this is the third day in a row that we've had Deni Avdija on the list of players, man. So this is a lot about his evolution. And I definitely want to say the same thing next year about Bilal, man, after his second season, because a lot of intriguing young talent here in DC. So, I'm going to bring that up real quick. But get back to Bilal, definitely consider him because, like I said, his size, 6'8", man, he's still growing. He could very well, when it's all said and done, be 6'9", 6'10". He is still growing. His wingspan is through the roof. His instincts, the dog factor, he is just a pain in the butt on defense for a lot of guys in this league. And like I said, yeah, I would strongly consider voting for him as the best defender for the Washington Wizards this season. So let's get into Denny Avia. So let me get into Denny real quick. And like I said, Denny is another guy. Like I said, he has been very, very popular the last couple of days with the award show and with the votes. And I'm not gonna get to the votes, but all I'm saying is he's been very, very popular. So don't be surprised if his name is called on Friday night several times. So let's get into Denny Avia's numbers. Bear with me, guys. ESPN has got all kinds of stuff going on. All right, so bear with me. But I think you guys already knew that Denny was going to be a shoe-in as far as defense. So give me 1 second. All right, here we go. So looking at his defensive numbers this season, boom, got you. All right, so this season he averaged around 0.5 blocks and 0.8 steals. Personal fouls, 2.5, so slightly above Bilal. But I mean, you look at Denny, similar situation, different to a certain degree, but he's 6'9", 210, so he's got the weight, he's got the height. Offensively he's broken out, but defensively, a lot of people, period, have said that he's taking a small step backwards defensively. And yes, you could say maybe a small step backwards, but not a huge step backwards, because he still was an above average, very, very good defender this season. Now, looking at the numbers, like I said, defense, man, is tough because there's so many statistics for offense and there's so few for defense, man. And I don't really get into the plus minuses per se, but like I said, assist number is 0.5. Now, if you're going to compare it to past seasons and where, this is where it really counts, because Denny Avia in past seasons has been an elite defender. So did he really take a step backwards? We shall see. Let's take a look at that stat line. So in his 2022-2023 campaign, he averaged around 0.4 blocks. So it was only, slight difference from 0.5 from this season. And then his sophomore campaign was 0.5 like this season. And then his rookie year was 0.3 as far as blocks per game. Now, looking at steals, I mean, did he necessarily take a step backwards? Because his rookie year, 0.6, sophomore campaign, 0.7, last year, 0.8, and this year, 0.9 last year, and then 0.8 this season. So a slight step backwards, like I said, not a lot. He's definitely a very, very good defender in the league. Last 3 years, in my opinion, were elite. So with his small step backwards, you guys answer me below. Definitely comment below. Is he still an elite level defender? I think so. You could say small step backwards, but a lot of his attention went towards breaking out offensively. I would still think he's an elite level defender. So those are a couple of candidates. Definitely, I strongly consider you guys looking at both Bilal and Denny Avia as the best defenders for the Washington Wizards this season, because you can argue that both of them are two best defenders. And obviously, DeLon Wright he moved on to the Miami Heat. Definitely wish him all the luck and blessings in the world going forward. But these two, you can argue, were our two best defenders. So it's up to you guys, the voters, to let me know where you at, man. We can throw a third guy in there real quick, Landry Shamet. And I would say that Landry Shamet, a lot of effort, a lot of energy on the defensive end, man. So let me pull him up real quick. All right, so let's get to Landry Shamet. And obviously, looking forward, Landry Shamet, his contract next year is non-guaranteed. So we'll see what his long-term fit is in DC. But looking at it, how he did this previous season, especially on the defensive end, like I said, I was impressed not only with his athleticism and it really, man, he's a Skywalker to a certain degree, but defensively, a lot of energy defensively. So looking at how he did this season, bear with me, y'all. Let's see. All right, so this season he averaged around 0.2 blocks. So not his assist, his block numbers aren't going to wow you, but steal numbers. He averaged 0.5 steals a game this year and only 1.7 personal fouls. So he was on the floor. Obviously, with him not being on the floor, had a lot more to do with injuries than it had to do with personal fouls, foul issues, or effectiveness, right? Because he did show a lot of energy on the defensive end. And if you look at years past, his best year was last year with Phoenix, where he averaged 0.7 steals. This year 0.5, and usually when you average it out, he averages around 0.5, 0. Yeah, I mean, look at the numbers through the years, 0.4, 0.5. So he averages around 0.4, 0.5 steals a year. So he's always been kind of a under the radar, not a bad defender, in my opinion. You know, he definitely throws a lot of effort and a lot of energy on the defensive end. Now, is he a lockdown guy? I wouldn't say that right now, but if you combine with his athleticism and the fact that he can be a sniper and his offensive game, not a bad player. You know, like I said, the situation is why a lot of people, I guess, aren't high on Landry Shamet, because obviously we're in a rebuild, and you know, with him not being guaranteed, and you know, playing minutes have been kind of crazy, going from Wes Unseld Jr. to Brian Keefe, and there's a lot of factors, right? But Landry Shamet defensively wasn't too bad. So if you guys, you know, definitely keep him in consideration when you vote for the best defender this year for the Washington Wizards. So again, Friday night, we are going to get into the award show Friday Night Live with your boy Brandon Scott, myself. So definitely rock with your boy Friday night so we can start the weekend off right like we always do. So the next two categories over the next couple days, that kind of end the week, we're going to be looking at the best Wizards move this year, whether it's be trade, free agency, or in the draft. So we're going to look at that. Going to put the focus on the front office a little bit as far as your grading. And tomorrow we're going to get into the best bench player for the Washington Wizards. So definitely got a lot of good stuff coming your way this weekend, especially going forward to draft and free agency. So we're going to get into, can Johnny Davis figure it out in DC? And, you know, what does he need to get it done? And we're going to look at a Kyle Kuzma trade to round out the show. But before we do, tonight's episode is brought to you by DoorDash. So when you guys think of DoorDash, what do you think about? You know, I'm speaking for myself. I think about, you know, food delivery, especially through the pandemic. I actually worked for DoorDash a little bit to make some extra money during the pandemic, man. So big in food, but we don't think about other things they do, especially groceries. And with Mother's Day coming up, they have a lot to offer you guys, because moms are a gift. I love my mama, and I'm sure a lot of you guys do too, right? So give her the best this Mother's Day. Get gifts as thoughtful as she is with DoorDash. Select from hundreds of expertly crafted bouquets to the best of tech to self-care essentials and more, delivered right to her door. That easy, y'all. That easy. Pair flowers with a gift card so she can celebrate any way she wants. Is she a bookworm? Try a bookstore gift card like my mama. Does she love a good latte? Get a gift card to her favorite coffee shop. You cannot go wrong. I'm trying to tell you. So definitely consider DoorDash. Like I said, when you think of DoorDash, you think of food, but they have a lot more capability as far as, you know, flowers, gifts, groceries. The list goes on, man. The retail. So look, get a Mother's Day gift as unique as she is with DoorDash. Use promo code LOCKEDONNBA to get 50% off your next order, up to $15 when you spend $15 plus on your next flower, convenience, grocery, or retail order now on DoorDash. That's promo code LOCKEDONNBA. Order using DoorDash today. Terms apply. Tonight's episode is also brought to you by FanDuel. It's winner take all in the NBA and NHL, and FanDuel's giving you a shot to bring home a big win of your own. Right now, new customers get $150 and bonus bets with any $5 bet. That's $150 to bet on spreads, money lines, player props, and more. All you have to do, y'all, is visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and make every playoff shot count. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Are you watching Fox Sports or ESPN on your TV all day long? Have to turn on the volume with all that shouting? Make the switch to Locked On Sports today, a free 24/7 sports streaming channel program for you every day to bring you the biggest stories without all the screaming, y'all. Locked On Sports today brings you can't miss analysis, opinions, news, streaming 24/7 on YouTube or the free Amazon Fire TV channels app. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day. So let's get into it. There has been shout out to Greg Finberg on Twitter, aka X. If you don't follow him, I definitely strongly consider you do so, because man, his content is through the roof, and my God knows what he's talking about when it comes to anything Wizards related. So definitely Greg Finberg, man. Definitely recommend. I'm gonna put his Twitter handle down below, so definitely rock with him. But through him, there was a video about Johnny Davis showing him working out, and there was a slight change to his shot mechanics. So the question is, can Johnny Davis succeed in DC? And if so, what does he need to do so? And then I look at several factors, really two big factors, right? Obviously, looking at roster construction. Where did he go from here? There's a lot of dominoes. Like I said, it's early in the offseason. The NBA playoffs are still going on. So, you know, our team, a lot of teams that aren't in the playoffs, it's the all season. So that's why I'm saying, I appreciate you guys rocking with me, man, because I'm trying to find, before we get into the draft stuff and get into the free agency stuff, I'm trying to keep you guys interested with the awards show, the grades, and so right now is the dog days of the off season, man. So I appreciate each and every one of you guys rock with your boy, man. Definitely appreciate you. So, Johnny Davis, what does he need to succeed? Well, number one, first and the most important step is up to him, right? He's got to put the work, and he's doing that already early in off season. He's putting in that work. Several guys that I don't know who, I'm not trying to throw nobody out there, but a lot of players out there, they're on vacation. They're rightfully so. 82 game schedule, out there, blowing off steam. But he put in that work from the get. That tells you something. He's trying to get better, and he wants to take that next step next year. And now, what is the step? What is that next step for Johnny Davis? Could you say, meaningful minutes on the second unit? I would say so. Yeah, obviously he's not ready for, a starting position right now. But he's definitely, again, looking at the roster construction. Landry Shamet, non-guaranteed contract next year. Now, leadership matters. Could he be a guy you bring back? I don't know. Like I said, a lot of dominoes need to fall. It's still early in the offseason. A lot of roster moves need to happen. We'll see. But, and then, second factor of that is, he wasn't drafted by this front office. So how much loyalty, how much rope, how much leverage, does he have left with his front office? Because right now, Bilal Coulibaly is for the first draft pick. So a lot of emphasis when it comes to scouting and development really goes to Bilal, right? And Corey Kispert and Dinyavia to a certain degree. But, especially Bilal with him being their guy from the draft. They didn't draft Johnny Davis. Tommy Shepard did. So, how much, is he still part of the vision going forward in the eyes of Will Dawkins and Michael Winger and Travis Schlenk? Remains to be seen, and we shall see. But he's already doing the right thing, which is working. The shot mechanics, you could argue if he gets his shot down, he's got the scorer's mentality. Now, obviously, as a scorer, because he is a scorer. He's not a point guard. He's not a three-point shooter. He's a mid-range guy who's a scorer. He's a two-guard. He's a scoring two-guard. So, obviously, he's not a guy who's going to blow past anybody as far as speed factor. But he relies on, savviness, footwork. And he does it well at times, in my opinion. His footwork is not bad. He definitely has a scorer's mentality, and I'd like to see him rely more on the mid range as opposed to 3-point shot, because he's not a 3-point shooter. I mean, he can hit the 3-point shot. He can absolutely hit the 3-point shot, but even going back to Wisconsin, he wasn't a guy who was shooting more than 1 or 2 3-point shots a game. Let's be real. He's not a guy who's going to, so, but I guess. Man. I mean, yeah, mid-range would be where I would want to see him shoot more. Mid-range and definitely attacking the basket. So, what does he need to succeed outside of himself? Obviously the coaching staff, we already touched base about the front office, but the coaching staff, whether it's Brian Keefe or is another coach, they need to put him in the best position to succeed, which is, definitely putting him in the best position as far as playing calling. Be a mid-range guy, a guy to attack the basket. Because, again, he's not a guy that I would necessarily put on the perimeter and say, all right, catch and shoot. Nah. It's not his role, in my opinion. It's not where his strengths are. His strengths are, putting the ball. He can put the ball on the floor. Now, obviously, dribbling is definitely something. Playmaking is something that I definitely want to see him work on. He can't do it, but for him to take that next step, I want him to get better at it. You're definitely being a playmaker. Try to get other people involved. Definitely try to evolve your game even more. So JD, man, if you're watching the show, bro, definitely keep working. Definitely keep adding tools to your offensive tool bag. And so I think it's up to the organization and to Johnny Davis himself to put himself in the best position to succeed. Now, he can, he's putting in that work, and I definitely recommend he does that this offseason. Continue to work your tail off, because they will come to dividends, man. It will help you out. So, it all depends on, what is the vision for Johnny Davis within the organization? Do they still consider him a long-term piece? And if they do, we have to find what is the best situation to put him in? Where is the best placement? What is the best scenario for him to, evolve to be a guy who can contribute here in DC? Because look, we're going into year 2 of a rebuild. So, everything's about scouting, everything's about development, everything's about, seeing how these young guys can develop and evolve. And Johnny Davis, man, is a young player. Definitely want to see him evolve. So with the Wizards, we'll see going forward, because I think a lot of these questions are best answered by the front office and what their vision is and who is part of that foundation going forward. So, we'll see as the dominoes fall and as we get deeper into the off season. But you guys comment below. Let me know what you think. I mean, can Johnny Davis figure it out in DC? And if so, what does he need, guys? What does he need to get there? So, we're getting into a mock Kyle Kuzma trade, because they are already flowing around. Lord have mercy. But before we do, Tonight's episode is brought to you by Monopoly Go. All right, game off. We got to pause here to talk more about Monopoly Go. I know what you're saying. Flag on the play. You already talked about that, but there's so much more good stuff in this game. In Monopoly Go, you can team up with friends or for time tournaments where you can work together to build up each other's boards. The more you win together, the more awesome prizes you unlock. And there's so much more to get, y'all. I'm trying to tell you, such as unique stickers. You can trade with friends to complete albums for big prizes. Cool new playing pieces to travel the boards with. Hilarious emojis for taunting friends when you smash your buildings or heist your vaults. Plus, Monopoly Go feels new and exciting every day with constantly changing tournaments and challenges. A ton include their own unique mini games like digging for treasure or a robot pachinko machine. And there's always new timed events that help you win big, like massive multipliers for everything you win or rent frenzies. Woo! There's always something fun to discover in Monopoly Go. So get off the bench and go download it now for free on Google Play or the App Store. Game on, y'all. Monopoly Go. All right, so let's get into it. And this was through Twitter, but I actually got it through my guy Dialante at D Talks a Lot on Twitter, aka X. So he's a former Locked On Wizards host, man. So definitely, if you have not or if you don't follow him, definitely I'm gonna put his down below also. A lot of good content from my man Dialante, man. So definitely rock with him and follow him. And like I said, so this mock trade, and let me start by saying, look, obviously people are already putting trades out there. Kyle Kuzma is the big name right now because of his contract, with it being team friendly and with it being a youth movement. And depending on what they go, depending on what direction you go through in the draft, could he be a trade candidate? Yes. But, I made it known before, all year long, I've caught smoke myself for a guy who's advocated trade packages for Kyle Kuzma. And I'm actually a big Kyle Kuzma fan. I have been so since he came over from the Lakers. I wasn't a big fan of him when he was in the Lakers, but I liked him when he came over from the Lakers, and especially when he became a complete player. He really worked on his game. He found the right situation for his game. Being a number one scoring option in DC, kind of a code number one option with Jordan Poole. He's shown leadership, even though some of y'all made it known you don't think he's a leader. To a certain degree, I do think he has shown leadership in DC, and he has been a really good locker room presence. Now he's not the only one. Obviously, you add in Anthony Gill. At times, definitely Jordan Poole, Jenny Avia. So there has been guys who stepped up to be leaders. But he's definitely been a good influence on the young guys and a good influence as far as culture. So I'm not going to take that away from him. But looking at the roster construction going forward, do we necessarily need to move Kyle Kuzma? Not right now. I don't think so. Now, if there's a deal too good to pass up, you make that move. But with the fact that it is a team-friendly deal, the fact that, and I'm going to use it, not that this is a defining factor because, he's setting up roots in the DMV and he's made it known that he wants to be here long-term. Now, are those factors that could change, keep a front office from moving them? Well, nah, there's many, examples where players have their roots or have business interests in markets that they don't play in. So, but it's cool to see him giving back to the community because, like I said, I'm a big John Wall guy. I'm, big on Bradley Beal, not so much the last couple of years because I didn't like the departure, but, you can't take away the fact that he did a lot for the community off the court, man. So you see that with Kyle Kuzma, not only for the DC area, but also for, his hometown in Flint, Michigan, because he is a Flintstone. So, so again, even if you go on the draft and you get a 4, such as, Alex Sarr, who can play 4 or 5, and there's other options at the 4, but, you don't have to throw him in the fire because you have Kyle Kuzma. So you very well can see him here at least through next year. We'll see. All right, so look at this trade, everybody. So this trade, again, through my man Dialante, shout out. And the trade is sending Kyle Kuzma to the Detroit Pistons, which would be a homecoming for him because, again, he's from Flint, Michigan. And we will receive forward/center Isaiah Stewart, point guard Marcus Sasser, the 2029 first-round pick, which is a top 5 protected, and a 2027 second-round pick. So, again, you guys let me know below, comment below. Would you make this move? I'm going to say no. I do like Isaiah Stewart. He's got some dog in him. He's got high motor. You could say undersized at center. You could be probably a really good power forward. So, if you trade Kuz, he's probably going to be the starter at the 4. Now, there's other factors that can, that could probably change that. But to me, he probably started the 4. Marcus Sasser, I haven't watched too much of his tape, so I got to take a look at it. 2029 first round pick, top 5 protected. I mean, it's the Pistons, so I don't know too much about their timeline. I mean, maybe they're competing by 2029. I'm sure they're hoping, but and then 2027 second round pick. So I'm gonna say no, and there's several factors for that, right? Number one, I'm not moving Kuz unless the package is too good to give up, because I think I don't think that this move is something that I'm gonna say yes to. Isaiah Stewart, I do like. Marcus Sasser, don't know too much about it. The 2029 first round pick, top 5 protected, even if they're not competing, the way things are going right now in the trend, and I'm not trying to put no shame, no shade on Detroit, because I mean we're not too much better, but top 5 protected. If I'm gonna get a future first round pick from a team like Detroit, I'm not gonna have protections, and so I don't see the point of that one. In 2027 second round pick, I mean I don't know how you guys feel about second round picks. I'm personally kind of tired of second round picks. I'm kind of looking forward to first. I'm glad we finally got a first this year, but I'm gonna say no, because the deal really doesn't blow me away because certain factors. I mean, yeah, and I could pull up Isaiah Stewart's stat line real quick, but like I said, I do like Isaiah Stewart, but I gotta say no to this move. I just not. I don't think this move makes us better in the long run, which is the big reason why you make a trade. So let's take a look at his stat line real quick. Because there's a couple of stats I'm looking at. This year he averaged 10.9 points a game, shooting 38% from 3. Okay. All right now. If you look at field goal percentage, I just had it. Lord, man, it not helped me out today. 48%. So, he can stretch the floor. Absolutely. I mean, looking at his rebound numbers, 6.6. His rebound numbers did go down because his best rebounding year was 2021 to 2022, 8.7 rebounds. So it's gone down steadily from 2022. From 8.7 to 6.6, but I definitely think that he could be a guy who can definitely eat in the paint. So I like the Isaiah Stewart part of the trade. It's just the draft picks don't wow me. And like I said, if I'm gonna move Kuz, it's gonna be for a deal better than that. So you guys comment below. Let me know. Would you guys make that move? I mean, it would send him. It would definitely send him back home. I don't know how important being close to home is for Kyle Kuzma, because right now it seems like he's really setting his roots up in the DC area, man. Like I said, so I'm gonna say no to that trade, because unless I have a guy who's ready to come in and start at the 4, like I said, there's other variables, right? Denny can play at the 4. So, if we do indeed move Kuz in the near future, could you slide Denny to the 4? Could you put Bilal or Corey Kispert at the 3, and likewise the other guy at the 2? Very young lineup, but it's intriguing to see all those, how good that lineup could be with those 3 in it. So a lot of variables, man. We're going into year 2 of a rebuild, so we are going to get younger this offseason. There's definitely going to see 1, maybe 2 of these veterans come off the roster. So I'm gonna say no to that. Like I said, I like Kuz, I do, but I'm not the type of guy that's like, man, because I like a player, I want to be here forever. Nah, this is a business. So I understand that, it is a team-friendly deal. And like I said, a lot of people got on me because they think I want to trade Kuz and half the team. No, but it is a rebuild. So you have to get value for your veterans. And like I said, I've always given credit where it's due. I've given more credit to Kuz than I have criticized him. So, and any criticism that has to do on the court, and even then it has to do with making other guys better. I know what he can do. He's a scorer. He's, at his size, he can attack. He's a good player. I enjoy him here in DC. It's just my biggest thing, my viewpoint, my perspective is we have to develop. The biggest emphasis of this rebuild is development. We have to develop. We have to scout. We have to develop. We have to win through the draft. We have to hit these draft picks. This is where we're at right now. So I wouldn't move Kuz right now. I would, even if we get a guy at the 4, such as an Alex Sarr. We'll see about Reece Shea, where he best fits. Because like I said, going forward, we're going to do a lot of draft videos. So right now, I'm going to say no. I'm going to politely say no to the Pistons on that trade. So comment below. Let me know what you guys think. Now, after this week, guys, I get it. Grading the players and giving out awards to a team that, quite frankly, is one of the worst teams in the NBA. I hear you guys, man. But here's the thing. We are in the dog days of the offseason. So I'm trying to push the content out. I'm trying to make things interesting, because next month, I'm going to start getting into draft prospects. The draft, free agency, trade scenarios is going to get heavy. So you guys know me, man. I'm a GM at heart, man. So we're definitely going to get into a lot of draft stuff, because we're, May, we're starting to gear up towards draft, because draft's in June. So look, definitely appreciate you guys rocking with me. Definitely be patient, man, because I'm going to put that content out there. Like I said, I'm trying, this week, the last couple of weeks, getting the grades, getting into the awards, and trying to keep things interesting. Definitely keep the content rolling out there, guys, because right now there's not much going on. The playoffs going on, so we're not a playoff team. So definitely appreciate you guys rocking with me, man. So like I said, going forward, starting next week, we got a couple of special guests on. One you recognize, one you don't. I'm gonna definitely gear it up as far as doing a lot of draft, free agency, trade scenarios, everything under the sun. So definitely tune in for that. So again, appreciate you guys, man. Definitely vote below. I put it on the YouTube side after I end this video. I'm gonna put it on the Twitter side and put your votes in, guys, for who was the best defender in your eyes for the Washington Wizards this season. Again, Friday night, 7 o'clock. We're gonna do the awards show. We're gonna do it live and give out the awards. Right now, I ain't trying to throw nobody out there, man, but Denny's looking pretty good in the polls, man. So I'm just trying to tell y'all, man. So vote below. Is it Bilal, Denny, or maybe Landry Shannon? You guys tell me. So, and also comment below. Can Johnny Davis figure it out in DC? And what do you think about the Kyle Kuzma trade that I put forth? So again, appreciate you guys, man. You guys enjoy your evening. Have a blessed evening. I will see you guys tomorrow night to talk about who the best bench player was. And the night after that, we're going to talk about the best transactions by the front office this year. And then Friday night, we're going to chop it up like we always do live. And then next week, get into the draft. So again, appreciate you guys, man. You guys have a pleasant evening. Enjoy your evening. And I will see you guys tomorrow night. Hail to the Wizards and peace.